What is up, guys? GatorGamer coming into another video, and today we are reacting to top 10 Russian urban top 10 scary Russian urban legends part 2. Let's get a thumbnail real quick. There we go. Now let's play. Okay, come on.
With a country as large and as old as Russia, we were never going to fit all of the best creepy stories into just one video, were we? That's why you guys requested to hear more, and that's why I went away and gathered up all the ones that I wanted to include before, and also many that are even better than the first part, in my opinion. And I have them here for you today. My name is Danny Burke. I hope you guys are ready for the top 10 scary Russian urban legends, part 2. Starting off at number 10 now, we have the red piano. The story goes like this. A little girl who wanted to play the piano got one on her birthday from her parents. She excitedly practiced for weeks on it, but one day her fingertips began to hurt. She was told this was totally normal and just bruising from over practice. If she kept going, then her fingers would get used to the pressure. The girl continued to practice, but it began to take its toll on her physically. She grew thinner and paler every single day. After a month of this, the piano broke. The only person in the town who could fix it was an old woman. When she arrived, she told the parents and the girl they needed to stay out of the room as she worked on the piano, and she didn't want any distractions. After a while she emerged. The piano was fixed. The girl went back to practicing, but after a few more days she became so weak again that she could barely walk across the room. The piano had broken again. The old lady arrived and again told them to leave while she worked. The parents were curious though about how she fixed the piano, and so they looked into the room through the keyhole. They saw the old lady open the piano and take a glass jar out filled with what looked like blood. Then she started to drink it. The parents called the police straight away, who came and arrested the old lady. They examined the piano and found that the piano keys had tiny needles built into them, so small they were practically invisible to the naked eye. As the girl played the piano, she suffered tiny cuts which drained her blood drop by drop into the jar. The piano was designed to break when the jar was full, so that the old lady could come and drink her fill. Next up at number 9 now, we have Koschei the Deathless. In Russian folklore, this evil being is known as the kidnapper of brides. He is said to look like a skeleton wrapped in a thin, transparent film of skin. He resides in limbo between the world of the living and the world of the dead. He appears in stories throughout Russia as a sorcerer with endless wealth, kidnapping young girls to be his wives. In one tale, he turned an entire kingdom into a rock, and another its people into frogs. He is also blind, and in order to see his enemies, he asks his servants to lift up his withered eyelids. He is seen by some as part of marital initiation. A bride may only marry once her groom has defeated this twisted being. Next up at number 8 now, we have the yellow curtains. One day, a family of 4 moved into a new house which needed curtains. As they went to go and buy them, they remembered their recently deceased grandma hated yellow curtains and always told them to never ever get them, even after her death. Of course, as they walked around the market, all they saw was yellow curtains. After searching and searching for something else, they gave up and finally bought them. They brought them home and put them up in the room where the little boy and girl lives. That night, the curtains began moving and woke the boy up. Then they started talking. "Hey boy, get up," they said. The boy got up. "Hey boy, go wash your face and eat breakfast." They continued. The boy did as he was told. "Hey boy, come to the window and see how your grandma's hanging up the laundry outside." The boy was puzzled but approached the window. At that exact moment, the curtains grabbed him and threw him out of the window to his death as the entire family slept. Then the curtains did the exact same thing to the girl. Police investigators found hairs on the curtains and tracked down the old lady who had sold them the curtains. The old lady broke down and said she would help. She said the only thing these curtains were scared of was a magic scalpel hidden inside the giant star on top of the Kremlin. The police retrieved this scalpel and took it to the curtains, where they went to to cut a piece of it off for examination. No sooner had the scalpel touched the curtains than they exploded. No trace of them was ever found. Moving on to number 7 now, we have the coffin on wheels. This story starts off with the little girl's mother who was very ill. In her final days, she told her daughter that if she died, the girl should never paint her nails with red varnish. The mother died, and in the girl's grief, she dismissed what her mother had told her. She thought it was just the illness talking. After some time, the girl completely forgot her mother's warning and painted her nails red one day. As she finished, the radio flickered on, and a demonic voice said, "Hey, little girl, remove the varnish from your nails. A coffin on wheels has found your town and is looking for your street." The girl was confused and thought it just must be a glitch. She turned the TV on, but the same voice came out instantly. "Hey, little girl, the coffin on wheels has found your street and is looking for your house. Take off your nail polish." Terrified, the girl scrubbed her nail polish off and rushed to the phone to call her friend. Instead of her friend's voice, though, she heard the same voice. "Hey, little girl, the coffin on wheels is at your house. Now it's looking for your door. Take off your nail polish." She threw the phone down and kept trying to scrub, but the polish wouldn't come off. She heard a knock at the door, but couldn't see anyone through the peephole. She opened the door, and there was the coffin on wheels. It slowly opened, and her mother stepped out. "Why didn't you listen to me?" she screamed, and then she strangled her daughter to death. This story alone has kept the scary legend of the coffin on wheels alive. Next up, number 6 now, we have the Old Woman of Ostankino. This legend is of a ghostly figure who is said to appear in the Ostankino district of Moscow. It's not a new legend either. The ghost of this old woman has been appearing to people for over 5 centuries. Other than appearing to ordinary Russians, she is said to appear to powerful Russian leaders to warn them of coming danger. She would share insight on coming plagues or even foreign invaders. All she asks for in return is that they never farm the land on which she appears on. Legend says that one leader didn't listen to her and ordered that the land be farmed on. The old woman called up the spirits that occupied the land and made them possess the local people, driving them to insanity and then suicide. It's been years since then, but some locals say she is still capable of doing the same. Moving on to number 5 now, we have Metro 2. This legend says that the Soviet Union constructed a secret metro system underneath Moscow. It was apparently ordered by Joseph Stalin and said to be connected directly to the Kremlin. The secret government usage is just the tip of the iceberg, though. Many locals swear that strange hybrid human creatures lurk down there, the product of experiments in Soviet labs that were deemed too hideous to ever be seen by the public. Sympathetic scientists released these creatures into the hidden metro in the hopes they could live out somewhat of a normal life. For a while, the public didn't believe the stories of people seeing these creatures scuttling out from the ground, but then several Soviet Union defectors came forward and swore the whole thing was real. Now, many urban explorers are constantly on the hunt for Metro 2 and its mutant inhabitants. Next up at number 4 now, we have the black curtains. One day, a girl's mother sent her to the store to buy some curtains for the house. She told her to not get black ones. Any other colour or type would do, but not black ones. Naturally, the shop the girl went to only had black curtains in stock.
The same as the
girl decided to get them as they are surely better than no curtains anyway. The mother was not happy but agreed to put them up. The next morning, the family woke up to find that the father had been strangled in the night. The night after, the same thing happened to the girl's mother and brother. The police arrived and decided to set up a trap for whoever this mysterious strangler was. They hid inside the house as the girl went to bed. In the dead of night, they began to see the black curtains stretching, twisting and turning, reaching up towards the girl's bed and then around her neck. The police bust out and fired their guns at the curtains. The curtains let out a demonic screech as the bullets ripped through the black fabric, letting out a foul black liquid where blood should be. Then they fell to the floor, motionless. The girl survived. This story has left some people with a deep superstition of black curtains, maybe just to be safe. Next up at number 3 now, we have the haunted Kremlin. The Kremlin is the fortified hub of Moscow and has been the seat of Russia's leadership for many years. It was first built in the 15th century, and in the years since then it's built up a reputation for being incredibly haunted. People say the ghosts of former leaders still wander the corridors, doomed to haunt because of unfinished business in life. One example is is Nicholas II, who appears before a Russian disaster occurs. Ivan the Terrible has been seen in the shadows and on the bell tower. Now they say he can't find peace as a ghost because he killed his own son, a deed that still haunts him in his afterlife. Even the famous Soviet leader Lenin is sighted at the Kremlin. What's even creepier is that his ghost was actually seen by several people even when he was still alive, but it was apparently unable to move, almost as if it was waiting for him to die. That's exactly what happened though, just 3 months later after the first sighting. Moving on to number 2 now, we have the Black Tram. One day a little boy in a small town was on his way home from school. It was a route he had done many times before, but for some reason on this day he found himself in an area he just didn't recognize. The streets were unfamiliar and empty, lined with different buildings and trees. The strangest thing was just how dark it was, even though it was daytime just minutes before. He saw a tram stop and decided to hop on one, hoping to get to somewhere he knew. The board with the routes on was strange though. Each tram was numbered with years. One said 1932 to 1958. Another said 1983 to 1995. They reminded him of dates on a gravestone. Then a tram began rolling towards the stop. It was very old looking and moved almost silently. It was also a deep jet black in colour, like a hearse. As it came to a stop and the doors opened, the boy felt something pull him inside, like a gust of wind pushing him forwards. He shook it off and stepped back onto the street. Suddenly, the black tram was gone. He looked around and found himself on a lively street that he knew quite well. As he walked home, he suddenly remembered that the tram's number had been his birth year and the current year was next to it, flickering, waiting for him to step inside. Some people believe that the black trams are responsible for people's disappearances, pulling them in unless they have the willpower to fight back and live another day. And finally, number 1 now, we have the Golosov Ravine. This is a park in Moscow which is known to the people there as being built around very ancient stones, said to be sacred and pure. Perhaps that's the reason the ravine has been home to many strange legends over the years. One of them tells of a group of Mongol soldiers who entered the ravine to explore it. A cloud of mist emerged and got thicker around them as they moved further into the ravine until it completely surrounded them. The soldiers left the ravine a few minutes later and found the land unrecognizable. 100 years had somehow passed. Locals believe that on these misty days, the Golosov Ravine becomes a sort of time portal. They say that explains the disappearances that have happened to people there ever since. People say they're not gone for good, and one day they will emerge in the future from the ravine as if no time had passed for them at all. Well, thank you, Russia, for providing us with some more fascinating urban legends there. We could do a part 3 of this, or we could do a whole brand new country that we haven't looked at yet. Make yourself heard in the comment section below. Thank you for watching as always, guys. My name is Danny Burke, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Thank you, Danny Burke. Thank you very much. So that's really it for today, you guys. And if you really want me to react to some more of this and whatnot, please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys next time. GatorGamer, jumping out.